I got an invitation the other day that's got me thinking about something I honestly wasn't planning on thinking about yet. This friend of mine, he's wrapping up his career here pretty soon, and he and his wife are throwing themselves a retirement party. You know, the whole shebang: food, family, probably somebody making a toast that goes on a little too long before somebody else finally has to cut them off. Now, the second I opened that envelope, my brain went straight to the big problem. What in the world do you actually get somebody when they're retiring? Not just a card. Of course, if they're having a party, a card is a good thing to get them to wish them a happy retirement. But that's not the gift, is it? And not just a gift card either, although, I'll be honest with you, right up front, that might end up being exactly what I do get him. Sometimes the safe move is the best move. But I really would like to get something that actually means something for both him and his wife. After all, they are a team and they are going into this retirement, into this next chapter in life together. I also think that it's really easy for somebody to forget about the spouse when you're standing there in the store trying to shop for your friends. So I want to make sure that she feels just as celebrated at the moment too. And then suddenly, as I was trying to think of gift ideas for them, it dawned on me. When I do retire, do I want a retirement party? If I do have a retirement party, do I want gifts? Do I want cash? What do I want? I don't really know. Or do I just simply want to retire and fade off into the sunset, if you will? Just slip away and not really do any type of a celebration. Now, I went looking for some retirement gift ideas online, and I stumbled onto this one list, something like 50 or more gift ideas for retirees. This list had everything from a customized plaque all the way down to, and I'm not kidding here, a washing machine and a set of towels. So the first thing I did was start throwing out the stuff that's clearly just filler, just junk. Nobody is walking away from decades of hard work excited about a box of garbage bags or a set of bath towels or a wash machine, to be sure. And if they are excited about that thing, then we need to have a longer conversation about what happened in their career, because something's not quite right. What I landed on first, once I cleared out all of the junk, is what I would categorize as the sentimental category of items. You know, the customized plaque, picture frame, engraved watch that's got his name on it, and maybe a date somewhere on the back of it. Or that vintage style clock that's built to look like it's been sitting on somebody's mantle for 50 years, even though you just bought it last week. And you know what? There's something to all of that. 45 years at one place, that's nothing to sneeze at. That is an entire chapter of somebody's life. That's raising kids off that paycheck, paying off the mortgage 1 year at a time. And let's face it, a card that just says congratulations doesn't really capture what that chapter cost him or what it built for him and his family over the years. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying my buddy's the sentimental type. Some guys would rather you just hand them cash and call it a day. No ceremony, no engraving, nothing that's going to sit on a shelf getting dusted twice a year if they're lucky. But if he's anything like me, a plaque, a nice picture to hang up in my office might be something that I would appreciate, or would it be? Now, I'm sitting here picturing my own party if I decided to have one and wondering whether that's the kind of gift I would actually keep around for years. And in all likelihood, it might end up on the wall for a short period. But the first time I did some rearranging, it might end up in a file cabinet or a closet somewhere never to be seen again. Then I started looking at things on that list that would fall into the leisure category, if you will. You know, things that spoke more about easing into the slower pace of life. The foot massager, the bedside lamp, the outdoor swing for two, the scented candles, the kind of stuff that's less about who somebody was at work and more about who they're going to become when they're retired and at home all the time. And honestly, this is where I think you have to actually know the guy, because some retirees hit the ground running the day they retire, out the door, doing projects before anybody realizes what happened. Now, my friend, he's not the sit still type of guy. Never has been, never will be. So an outdoor swing for two might just end up sitting there looking pretty in the backyard. More decoration than anything. And it'd probably end up being the kind of gift that the grandkids will use and destroy in one summer. But a good lamp for all that reading he keeps talking about he's finally going to get to do once he's retired, well, that might actually get used day after day and night after night. Which to me is the real test of whether a gift is worth giving in the first place. Not how it looks as they unwrap it, but whether it's still doing something for somebody years later. But does he even need a reading lamp? Does he already have a reading lamp? Is that something that would truly be practical for him in his life today? And the foot massager, I'll admit, that one made me laugh a little bit, because it's the kind of gift that sounds like a joke. Until you're 65 years old and your feet have opinions of their own about how you have spent the last 40 years of your life. Then suddenly it's not a joke at all. It's just true. And when he unwraps that, well, everyone in the room over 50 is nodding in agreement and laughing a little bit too. Now, the scented candle, I'd probably skip for him specifically. That one feels like it belongs on somebody else's list, but I could see it working for plenty of guys too. It just depends on the guy, same as everything else on these lists. One thing I learned is there is no universal answer as to what is the best gift for someone retiring. I also broke some parts of this list into what I call the travel category. You know, things like the travel pack, a compass, one of those instant cameras that prints the picture right when you take it, those kind of things. And this one is easy for me to think through, because I know for a fact he and his wife have already got retirement trips planned for the near future. In fact, they've been talking about it for years now, the kind of talk where you can tell it's not just talk, it's a countdown. It's a real thing sitting on their calendar with a date attached to it. So something built for actually going somewhere that feels less like a gift and more like you're buying into their adventures, that's something they may get excited about. And I think that's the actual trick to a good retirement gift. You're not just handing them an object, you're handing them a nod that says, I see what you're planning here and I want to be a part of it, even in some small way, even if all I did was buy the bag they're going to carry it in. The compass, of all things, that one stuck with me longer than I expected. It's a small thing, it's not expensive, it's not flashy, but there's something almost symbolic about handing a guy a compass right as he's stepping into a part of life where nobody's telling him which direction to go anymore. No boss, no schedule, no 5-year plan that somebody else wrote for him, just him deciding, maybe for the first time in decades, which direction he actually wants to head. The instant camera, I'd probably pair with the compass. If they're finally taking these trips they've been putting off, somebody ought to be capturing it in something more permanent than a phone screen that gets replaced every 2 years. Yeah, call me sentimental and skeptical about technology too. If I had $1 for every minute I spent scrolling through countless photos on my phone looking for that one special photo, I would be retiring a millionaire right now. Now, what about his wife? What do you get for his wife for retirement? Now, here's where the list I found online actually let me down. It seems like every single item on it is written like there's just one retiree in the picture. But there's not. There's 2 people retiring here. 2 people who've been living life together and looking forward to this same date. So I had to stop and think about her separately, not as an afterthought tacked onto his gift, not a matching version of whatever we picked up for him, but as her own person stepping into retirement herself. She has her own vision of what retirement will look like, and she probably has her own thoughts about what will happen and other things she might not even be talking about, except with her closest friends. And I'll be honest, I don't have that all figured out yet because I know her a lot less than I know him. And that is probably true for most friendships, isn't it? You get close to your friend over many years of talking shop and swapping stories, and his wife ends up being more of a friendly acquaintance, somebody you wave to and catch up with on occasion. And that is what has me concerned about what to get her. Whatever we get her needs to come from actually thinking about her. It needs to reflect her hobbies, her plans, her version of what this next chapter in life will look like. I don't want it to look like some afterthought or something that just matches the gift we got him. That leads me to the fallback list of gift ideas, if you will. You know, the stuff you get when you don't know somebody quite that well. You know, things like a wallet and a belt set, a coffee mug, a grooming kit, a key ring, or maybe a step up from that, a smartwatch or Alexa, or some other electronic gadget. Now, to be sure, none of these are bad gift ideas. Practical gifts usually get used. There's real value in a gift that shows up in somebody's actual daily routine. But let's be honest, a guy retiring probably has his own version of each of those things already. After all, he's not graduating from high school, he's retiring. As well, most of us don't want our friends picking out these types of things for us. These are more personal items than practical at this age. Now, if I'm being honest, there probably are some electronic gadgets I might, keyword might, be interested in as a gift for myself. But not a random electronic item, like I don't want a handheld back massager. But I do know some people, not my friend who is retiring, but I do know some people that would love something like that. Now, as I sit and think about what I'm wanting to get my friend for his retirement party, I keep noticing I'm talking about what I would want if I were to have a retirement party. And you know what? I'm sure I'm not alone. Hopefully I'm not alone. I'm sure this happens to other people too. You start thinking about someone else's stuff, someone else's needs, and then turn that into your own wants and desires and needs as well in your own mind. And somewhere along the line, that list starts to also become your own wish list, or in my case, my own wish list. Because when I look at these lists, I think of little things like a sports baseball cap or a cell phone holder for my vehicle or something like that. And I think, boy, that would be something useful for me. So let's just deal with it, because apparently I can't get through a gift list for somebody else without it turning into a gift list for me. If you ask me right now, point blank, what I would actually want at my own retirement party, my first answer is probably nothing. And I mean that, not in the fake modest way people say it and then get quietly disappointed when nobody buys them anything at all. I don't want a lot of knickknacks and clutter sitting around my house or my office. I have been spending a good amount of time lately thinking about downsizing, about actually getting rid of stuff instead of adding more things to my pile of stuff that I never really use. And let's face it, a pile of retirement gifts today might also look like a lot of those piles of gifts for a lot of newlyweds. Now, to be sure, you're going to get stuff as a newlywed or as a retiree that is going to be something useful, but a lot of times you just get a lot of repetition and things that you just won't use. I remember when my wife and I got married, I think we got 3 crock pots, 3 toasters, and 3 sets of bath towels. But now, of course, today there are those websites that have their wish lists up there, and if somebody buys something off of that, then that thing disappears off of the list. So that may not happen as much today, but I could still imagine a lot of repetition still happening today too. You see, a big part of what I'm working towards as I am getting the house paid off before I retire is getting things simplified and making life lighter. And there's actually something almost funny about spending years working towards getting less stuff or having less stuff and then having a party where the entire point is to get more stuff from people. And you know what, if I'm being fully honest, and you know what else, I think the real answer for me as to what I would want for a retirement gift would probably be a gift card or a donation to a nonprofit I support or something simple like that. And if people got me nothing, I would be fine with that, even if they didn't get me a happy retirement card. I mean, seriously, what would I do with all those cards? I am not the sentimental type of person. Chances are they would lay right here on my desk for a week or two, and then they would get tossed into file 13. Now, to be sure, there are probably one or two things I saw on those lists that intrigue me that I think right now, if I was retiring, I might like to receive that as a gift. But let's be honest, I'm not retiring right now, and in 2 or 3 years, am I going to have the same interest in items that I do today? And if I was to be truthful about it, just about everything on those lists, if I didn't have it already and I wanted it, well, I would probably just go out and get it. We don't have a lot of wants and desires and needs, if you will, in air quotes, for things. My wife and I are much more practical. We have everything we need, and for most part, we have everything we want. And when something does come up that we want, we usually just buy it. For me, when I retire, if I was to have a retirement party, what would matter to me is having those that I'm closest to be there and have some good food and some wonderful discussions and fellowship. After all, that's what it's all about to me. It's not about how many gifts I get, how many cards I get, and how many friends show up. It's about the quality time I can spend with friends, family, and loved ones right now. So that would be the real gift for me. Just people showing up and saying something genuine about me, what they know about me, what they've learned about me, and what they appreciate about me over the many years they've known me. Now, if you've already been through this, if you've already had the big retirement party, I'd like to know, did you end up with a house full of stuff you don't really need, or did you manage to keep it small? And if you're still working toward retirement like me, let me know. Would you actually want the party and the gifts and all of the hoopla? Or are you already leaning towards the don't bother me camp like I am? And if you found some value or enjoyed this video, please go ahead, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe channel. I really do appreciate it.